This is the story of how two people on Cardi B's team allegedly made a deal with one of New York's most respected rappers, broke that deal, and thought he was going to let it slide. He didn't. On August 5, 2026, Camron went on his Revolt show Talk with Flea and put Cardi B's team on blast. Not Cardi herself, but specific people around her. He said they used her name to make promises, failed to deliver on those promises, and that Cardi herself may not even know it happened. And then he made a threat. He said he's sitting on an unreleased collaboration, explicit screenshots of a male team member, and enough leverage to make things very uncomfortable for the people who played him. His exact words? Take this as a warning. Now, most people heard this and thought Cam was coming for Cardi. He wasn't. He made that crystal clear. He said, and I'm quoting directly, "I'm not putting this on Cardi. Cardi might not even know this stuff. This is about the gatekeepers, the people making deals in her name without her knowledge. And if you think Cam is bluffing, you clearly didn't see what happened when he did the exact same thing to J. Cole last year, because that man has a playbook, and it works."
So if you from New York, somebody say you know your shit, nigga, for real. One of my favorite. I really am a real Dipset fan, for real.
Now, for anybody who doesn't know, Camron is Cameron Giles, Harlem, Dipset, Killa Cam, one of the most iconic New York rappers of the early 2000s. Hey Ma, Oh Boy, the whole pink fur era. Today he runs two shows. It Is What It Is, the sports and culture talk show he co-hosts with his childhood friend Mace, and Talk with Flea on Revolt TV, which premiered in August 2025. He announced the Revolt deal on Instagram in June 2025. This is his platform, this is his house. And here's the thing y'all need to understand about Cam and Cardi. They're cool. In March 2024, Cardi said on a live stream that the coach line in her Like What freestyle was directly inspired by Cam's Hey Muma. She said, "I really am a real Dipset fan." Cam replied on Instagram, called her his sister, said, "Love you sis." This is not a beef. This is a man who genuinely respects Cardi as an artist and has a specific problem with the people handling her business behind the scenes. So when Cam says something publicly, the hip-hop community pays attention. This isn't some random person throwing shots from a burner account. This is a respected veteran with his own platform, his own audience, and, as we're about to get into, a very clear history of following through when people play with him.
Leave me alone. And this don't got nothing to do with Cardi B. Cardi B, my sister, I love Cardi B, man. But you got to get the right team around you, man. Because Cardi might not even know this shit.
Now, here's how we got here. At some point, members of Cardi B's team came to Camron with a proposal. They wanted him to record a verse and a hook for a remake of his 2000 track, What Means the World to You. The arrangement was straightforward. Cam delivers the verse, and in return, Cardi appears on his show It Is What It Is for an interview. Cam did his part. He went in the studio, recorded the verse, recorded the hook, delivered the work, and then he waited for approximately 2 years. 2 years of back and forth, pressure, delays, and nothing materializing on Cardi's end. The song was ultimately scrapped. Per the team's own explanation, as Cam relays it, they didn't want Cardi coming off as too retro after the response to her Jay-Z flip Imaginary Players. He said they told him, "The younger people loved it, but some people didn't like her flowing on a 90s beat on the Imaginary Players song, so we tried to stay away from that." So the Camron collab got cut from the album Am I the Drama, which dropped September 19th, 2025, debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 with 200,000 equivalent album units, and made Cardi the first female rapper to have her first 2 albums debut at #1. The song didn't make the album, and Cam got nothing. No interview, no payment, no credit, nothing. Let me make sure y'all heard that. They came to Camron, a legend, asking him to do the work. He did the work, they held the song for 2 years, they didn't use it, they didn't pay him, they didn't book the interview they promised, and then they just moved on like it never happened. Be for real. And what gets me is, Cam isn't even really blaming Cardi for this. He makes that very clear, and you need to hear exactly what he said. On the August 5th, 2026 episode of Talk with Flea, in a segment titled People Gotta Leave Flea Alone, Camron said this: "I love Cardi B, but you gotta get the right team around you, man. I'm not saying she doesn't have a good team, I'm just talking about 2 individuals on her team that was harassing me." And then he said, "I'm not putting this on Cardi. Cardi might not even know this stuff. I'm just saying, the people around her is making promises on her behalf, and she might not even notice. So you gotta stop making promises on these artists' behalf, and they don't know." Read those words back. He's not calling out Cardi, he's calling out the gatekeepers, the people who used her name to get access to Camron's studio time, his voice, and his legacy, and then gave him nothing in return. And Cam is saying Cardi might not even be aware her people did this, which means somewhere right now, 2 members of Cardi B's team are watching this, knowing exactly who they are, and they haven't said a word. He also made it clear what he wants. He said, "I still need my interview. If not, y'all gotta compensate me for my time, because I know the people that manage her and who co-write for her. That's it. an interview or payment for work he already delivered. That's a reasonable ask from a man who's been more than patient. But Cam wasn't done, because the scrapped song wasn't the real bombshell. The real bombshell was the threat. Cam said he has explicit content, screenshots and photos of a male member of Cardi's team, content that, if released, would be devastating for that person's career and personal life. I'm going to keep the specifics clean because this is YouTube, but TMZ reported the details on August 7th, 2026, and what Cam described on the show left very little to the imagination. He said, "Take this as a warning. Send that paper through for my time," or "I'm gonna tell how this person allegedly conducts themselves privately." He said he was disgusted when he saw the content, but then recognized its leverage. His words, "Yes, God, you sent this to me to get back at these people." Now, TMZ confirmed that Cam has no issue with Cardi herself. Their report explicitly stated Cam thinks her team is making and breaking deals behind her back. The threat is aimed at the unnamed individual, not at the artist. And the response from Cardi's camp? Nothing. As of every report that's been published, Billboard, Complex, TMZ, XXL, not a single person from Cardi's team has publicly denied this, acknowledged it, or responded in any way. Total silence, and that silence is telling, because if Cam was making this up, the easiest thing in the world is to deny it immediately. Nobody said a word. Not the team, not Cardi, nobody. And Cam is still sitting on that song and sitting on those screenshots. And remember what I said at the top about Cam having a track record of following through? Let me tell you about October 2025.
Next, Sashi. What's up, man?
I'm just saying, like, a lawsuit, bro. Lawyers.
You know, it wasn't like that.
On October 28, 2025, Camron filed a lawsuit against J. Cole in Manhattan federal court, seeking at least $500,000. The dispute involved a track called Ready 24. Cam later admitted the suit was partly about getting Cole's attention. Same playbook, make it public, make it uncomfortable, force the other side to engage. And it worked. J. Cole appeared on Talk with Flea in March 2026. They sat down, talked it out on camera. The case was settled on undisclosed terms in May 2026, from lawsuit to resolution in about 7 months. Now think about that. J. Cole is one of the most protected names in rap. His team doesn't play, and Camron walked up, filed the papers, made the noise, got the interview, and settled. That's not somebody who makes empty threats. That's somebody with a system. So when he goes on Revolt and tells Cardi's team, take this as a warning, that is the warning. He's already proven what happens when people don't take him seriously. The question isn't whether Cam will follow through, it's whether Cardi's team will handle this before he has to. Now, what gets me about this whole situation is what it says about how the music industry actually works behind the scenes. Cam's line, "The people around her is making promises on her behalf and she might not even notice." That's one of the most honest descriptions of artist management that's ever been said on a public platform, because this happens all the time. Handlers and managers and co-writers making deals in artists' names, using the artist's brand as currency, and the artist never seeing the full picture of what's being traded on their behalf. And Cardi has navigated team issues before. Her former manager Clinord Raphael filed a $10 million breach of contract suit against her in April 2018. She countersued for $30 million. All claims and counterclaims were dismissed with prejudice in December 2020. She's been through this. She knows what bad management looks like. She currently works with Full Stop Management and is represented by UTA for bookings. Her publicist is Patience Foster, who's been with her since 2015. These are established, legitimate professionals, but Cam is not naming any of them specifically. He's referencing 2 unnamed individuals. Nobody, not Billboard, not Complex, not TMZ, has identified who they are. So any guessing is just that, guessing. But here's the thing, whether these 2 people are managers, co-writers, assistants, or anyone else in her orbit, they used Cardi's name to access a Harlem legend's time and talent, and then gave him nothing. If Cardi doesn't know that happened, she deserves to know. And if she does know, then the silence from her camp means something very different. Here's the bottom line. Camron came to this situation with respect. He loves Cardi. He called her his sister. He did the work, he delivered the verse and the hook. He waited for 2 years. He got nothing. And the people who made the deal apparently thought Camron was somebody you could do dirty without consequences. They were wrong, because now the whole industry is watching. The unreleased What Means the World to You remake exists somewhere. The screenshots exist. The warning has been issued publicly on Revolt, and it's been reported by Billboard, Complex, and TMZ. And from everything we know about how Camron handles these situations, and we know from the J. Cole case exactly how he handles them, this man follows through. And Cardi? If Cam is Cam's right. If she genuinely doesn't know what her team promised and broken her name, then this isn't just entertainment news. It's information she needs. Because if someone is using your name to make deals and then not honoring those deals, that's not just disrespectful to the person on the other end. That's a problem for you too. Cam said it better than anybody. The people around her is making promises on her behalf, and she might not even notice. That's not shade. That's a warning for Cardi as much as it is for the people he's actually coming for. So I want to know what y'all think. Do you think Cardi actually knew about this deal with Camron? Or is this genuinely something her team handled without her knowledge? And do you think Cam is actually going to leak that song and those screenshots? Or is this all just pressure to get what he's owed without things going further? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.